Hello, members of the most illustrious fantasy football league. It is I, your commissioner, and one, two, three-time undisputed champion Chase E. Callahan, coming at you live from Eagle Point Butts HQ. I have a very, very excited announcement to make today. But first, I wanted to make a quick video about the playoffs and how the playoff picture is turning out now that we're in week 13, about to end week 13. We have some massive games going on with playoff implications. And so, with no further ado, let's head on over to our league and let's take a look at the game center, kind of see what's going on. So, the games with massive playoff implications, um, it would have been Mike and mine, but that one's already over. We'd be looking at Tyler versus Brandon, Luke versus Zach, and Brennan versus Tim. Um, and why are these matchups so important? Well, let's pull up a playoff picture real quick, and I realized after making this that the right cheek and the left cheek should be flipped, but who cares? Um, as of this week, these are all of our records. And these are what needs to happen for what's required for these teams to make the playoffs. So Brett, he owns the tiebreaker over myself and Tyler. With a win this week over Champ, which he's basically got, um, it almost guarantees Brett a spot into the playoffs unless he loses out and Tyler and I win out. Probably not going to happen. But crazier things have happened. So Brett's almost guaranteed a spot with the win this week. Myself, I own the tiebreaker over Tyler and Mike, and so beating Mike this week, which is why I now own the tiebreaker over Mike, is a really big deal for my playoff hopes because Tyler needs to have a better record than me or Brett to end the season, or he's not in, which will be very tough. Especially kind of with how the season's shaking out the last 2 weeks, our interleague play. Mike is out this week with a loss. Champ is also out this week with a loss. Not a lot of people have realized this, but Champ actually wasn't dead this week. He wasn't totally out of playoff consideration. If he would have beat Brett this week and won out, he would have had the tiebreaker over Brett. One of Brett's losses this year was against Champ, believe it or not. Now we head on over to the left cheek, and what's cool is last year the right cheek was a tight log jam, right? Well, this year the left cheek is the crazy log jam. The right cheek, it's pretty understanding and simple of how things are going to work out, what needs to happen. Over on the left cheek, everybody owns tiebreakers over everybody. So Brandon owns the tiebreaker on Zach. He's nearly guaranteed a spot if he wins this week. Um, and I think that's a typo. Guaranteed a spot if he beats Zach. He's playing Tyler this week. But he owns the tiebreaker already over Zach. If he wins this week, he goes to 8-5 with 2 games left. And that makes it very difficult for any of these teams to catch up to him. So it's not absolutely guaranteed, but it's very close. And his matchup is winnable. It's not over. He's actually, I think, here, let's get rid of the playoff picture real quick. Go to his matchup. I think he's projected to win by 4. So it's going to be very, very tight. That's assuming Drake May and Travion Henderson have a really good game in the Patriots defense. Gives up points against the Giants. It's a winnable game for Brandon. That's kind of a coin toss. And it's a really big deal again, because if Brandon wins, he goes to 8-5 and he's almost a shoe in for the playoffs. If Tyler loses this game and goes to 7-6, he needs me to lose the 2 remaining games I have, and he has to win the 2 remaining games he has, or he's out. And so massive matchup there. Let's pull back up our playoff picture. So then we go to Luke. Luke owns the tiebreaker on Brennan. If he wins this week, he owns the tiebreaker on Zach, and that would put him at 7-6. Brennan owns the tiebreaker on Brandon. If he wins this week, he owns the tiebreaker on Tim, and that would put him 7-6. Tim needs to win this week and needs people to lose out. Tim is not dead, even with a loss this week, but the math is really hard for Tim to get in if he loses this week. And then Zach owns the tiebreaker on Brennan, and he is out with a loss this week, and he needs people to lose out. Tim also really needs people to lose out. We'll look at the match real quick between Tim and Zach. Or with, where's Tim? Tim and Brennan. Sorry. Tim and Brennan. And sorry for the confusion. Sick. Got a little sinus infection. Who cares? Tim's got to win this game to stay relevant. If Tim wins this game, craziness ensues. Pull back up this playoff picture. If Tim wins this game, he goes to 6-7. Brennan is 6-7. Zach could get a miracle tonight and beat Luke. He's down 13. He needs Henry to score 13. Crazier things have happened. There's a real scenario where Luke is 6-7, Brennan is 6-7, Tim is 6-7, and Zach is 5-8, a game back from a playoff spot. Because the last 2 weeks of the season are interleague play. And so none of these teams are playing against each other to end the season. And so there's a possibility that Zach could still get in, but he's got to win tonight. Tim basically has a week, but he has to win tonight against Brennan. It's craziness, absolute craziness. So that's kind of the playoff picture of what we're working with. We head on over back to the league real quick. Quick rattle off my old noggin, the Billy IQ noggin. If I had to make power rankings right now, what would the power rankings look like? The power rankings would be Bert number 1, Chase number 2, Brandon number 3, Ghetto Smurf number 4, just because of the way the Colts are playing, because Ghetto Smurf is a Tyler. He needs Jonathan Taylor to win him games. After that, it's kind of tough because I don't think Champ has the worst team in the league anymore, because he's been winning and they're throwing AJ Brown the ball. So maybe 5, Luke, 6, Brennan, 7, Champ, 8, Mike, 9, Zach, 10, Tim. I don't know. I'd have to do more digging into that, so don't take that as gospel. But the reason I wanted to bring up the power rankings is because there's a team I really don't want to play in the playoffs if I make it, which I probably won't, because again, the Super Bowl is going to be between Tyler and Brett. So we'll see who wins it between those two. But outside of Brett, because Brett is obviously the person nobody wants to play in the playoffs, the other team I do not want to play is Brandon, because Brandon has a very sneaky good team, and they're all hitting at the right time. Devontae Adams is catching a ridiculous amount of touchdowns this year. Nico Collins is a wide receiver 1 again. Tetairoa McMillan had 1 catch for a touchdown last week, but over the last few weeks he's been very good. And his 2 running backs, Travion Henderson finally got the lead back role for the Patriots, and Drake May's been a great pickup for him. This is a freaking scary team in the playoffs, because if they catch you on a down week, they're winning. If we were to look at where the playoffs are right now, if the season was to end right now, where were that's down here? What would happen? So this isn't totally accurate because the NFL app doesn't do top 2 per divisions. I have to go in and do it. But if it was to end today, it would be Bert's Butts versus Luke, because Luke and Brennan are tied, and Luke has the tiebreaker over Brennan. It would be Bert versus Luke and me versus Brandon, which scares me. So that's the playoff picture, the playoff projection. But the real reason I made the video is because of this massive announcement that I'm very excited for you to watch now. That's right. March 14th, 2026, we will be having our awards ceremony. It'll be a night to remember. I'm so very excited for it. So many awards will get handed out, and it's just going to be a great time. It's going to be the same format as last time. Everybody has a +1. Please invite a +1. Does not have to be your spouse unless you want it to. If you need more than a +1, please reach out, and I will see if we can make that happen. But this is going to be mandatory because we have some decisions we need to make as a league together. Unless you live out of state, like hundreds of miles away, like Tim. But for anybody in state, it is mandatory because we're going to have massive league ramifications. We're going to talk about a few things that we need to vote on, and we're going to sit there and we're going to write out our rules and stuff like that, so that next year, whenever somebody has a question about playoff format, we can just go to the rule book. But I digress. We're going to be talking about things like expansion, new playoff format, maybe a mixing up of the divisions, and it would really, really suck if not everybody was there. So please be there. It is mandatory after all, and I am so looking forward to it. Good luck, everybody, this week, and I'm very excited to see how the playoffs shake up in about 2 weeks. Thank you.